Hey everybody, Economic Ninja here. Within about 14 days, you're going to see some incredibly wild things start happening. Everyone is celebrating today, and we should, because our vote mattered. We made a definite statement. There are going to be some exciting things coming in the next 4 years. The problem with it is there's also some very bad things coming. If you notice, last night and yesterday, Antifa's risen out of the shadows again. You know, it's interesting. The last 4 years, we really haven't had to deal with BLM or Antifa or anything like that. It's been pretty quiet, and that's because the rebel rousers had no reason to rouse anything up because the real work was being done in Washington. And now there's a different type of work starting in Washington, starting in January, and they know that. And I believe there are going to be some really bad things happening. Now, as of right now, the Dow Jones is exploding higher. And I want to remind you, the Dow's soaring 1,300 points right now to a record. The Russell jumps 4%. We are seeing crypto at all-time highs. A couple weeks ago, I came out and did a video on it with one of my colleagues that said, did a tweet on X on, October 6th, saying that, in his opinion, we were going to see $75,000 Bitcoin by the end, or by November 1st. His prediction was a little bit late. It was a bold prediction. He snapshotted it. We're about to crest 75,000 about a handful of days later, a week later. Still pretty epic, right? A lot of people on this channel have made a lot of money. As a matter of fact, I'm going to talk about a quote that I got, a comment just earlier today about somebody that took the course and has made a ton of money in crypto. But I want to remind you, the housing market is in complete shambles. And even though, and this is why all of this is rising, one of the presidents, our current president, he's our president right now, regardless of the old dude that's in the White House right now, he stated he's going to lower rates. But what is happening to the bond market is bonds are melting up. The bond market's actually imploding. And this is how, and I'm going to break this down really simply. When the Fed lowered rates about a month and a half ago, and now they're about to do an about face because the economy is crashing, they, and just, every time the Fed starts drastically lowering rates, it exacerbates the crash, okay? Because what you're about to see in the next handful of weeks is banks are going to pull back lending on a scale like you wouldn't believe. And that's also going to include financing of cars and credit cards. The bond market is imploding higher because bond investors know two things. They know that now, with Trump in, the stock market should rally alongside of inflation, but it'll never keep up with inflation. People will actually lose purchasing power in the bond, in the stock market. But what they're doing is, because there are so few people in the bond market, because a lot of bond investors are saying, hey, we'll take our money and go speculate somewhere else, and we're not going to keep up with real inflation. Since there are less buyers, right now the 10-year is at 4.471. It is up 0.183. That's a big day for the bond market. And I do see, before the first of the year, the 10-year hitting 5%, which means mortgage rates are going to explode. Yesterday, I went to a property auction. Property auctions are exploding. There are tax default sales going on around the country in numbers that you would honestly shock you. And then in the coming weeks, I'm going to be covering all this information. As a matter of fact, that's why I released my new course. If you want a link down below, I am putting together the best value in the country. That is my goal over the next 6 months. And that's why it's the pre-filming discount, because we're working our butt off. I'm working my butt off to put this course together and get everything in place that you can go and slay it with these tax liens and tax auction sales. So if you want, the links down below. I can't tell you how long it's going to go, but it's like 93 or 94% off, something like that right now. So real estate is going to continue. We're going to see more and more foreclosures. Matter of fact, tomorrow I'm sitting down with a foreclosure attorney in Dallas, where he has contacted me, and I've known him for quite some time, and he's getting HUD-1 foreclosures like you wouldn't believe. And he is shocked that the government has kept it quiet this long. And you get to see this ahead of time happening right now in front of us. Now, today, if you notice, and this is probably scaring a bunch of people, the price of gold and silver are tanking. Why is that? Well, because investors are finding more value in speculating in the stock market because they believe that Trump says when he goes, oh, we're going to drop rates, that he's going to drop rates. Here's the one thing that nobody's paying attention to. Please hear me and type 1 if this makes sense to you or you agree with it. If Trump lowers rates, forces the rates to go lower, people are going to speculate in all markets, meaning money will be created at a faster rate because money is created when someone pulls out debt, right? When you lower the rates, people speculate. And when they speculate, that's actually like giving money to a drunken sailor. See how long he keeps a hold of it, all right? What it will do is it will make inflation skyrocket on the very important things, energy and food, all right? Housing will not be sustainable because like what you've seen now, we are actually in a multi-hundred year, I think it's 270 years right now we're at, 271, I believe, of a bond market cycle that's now imploding, okay? The biggest reason, and we've got, where the scary part is the next 2 months before the inauguration, China, Japan, Russia, so many countries, the BRICS nations, they're walking away from the dollar. And so they're all coming back to roost and they're not buying our bonds. They may be buying a little bit, just like Berkshire Hathaway buys a little bit of stock so they show that they're in business right now. But really, Berkshire Hathaway is becoming a shell right now, a shell to hold cash for a crash. I know, I'm a poet and I didn't know it. But the fact is, while we're sitting back today, silver is down to under $31. I'm waiting till it hits 30 and I'm pulling the trigger because I like to buy as an investor would. I understand the fundamentals of something before I go and invest in it. I don't go ask somebody for a hot stock tip or a hot tip on commodities or what's the next big thing and then speculate by dumping money into something I know nothing about. However, this is not the day people will be freaking out and saying, yes, I'm going to buy. My buddy, Bill, you know him as Johnny Bravo or Jay Bravo. Great guy. When we talk, it is on a different level than if we are just poking around with buddies or pals or family. Because we're looking for opportunities. And then you strike at the opportunities. Now, what I've told you that's coming in the real estate market, some can choose to believe me or not believe me. Quite frankly, there are a lot of people, and this isn't being cocky, you got to call a spade, right? Because when you're trying to help people, you got to give them some examples. A lot of people that have watched this channel for a long time, 2 years ago, I called the top of the housing market, and it has been consistently dropping. No matter what the mainstream media tells you, the Federal Reserve charts are showing it. In real time, it's dropping, both median and average home prices. Tax sales are exploding. Foreclosure filings absolutely exploding. And you're going to find out right after the election that Fannie and Freddie have more homes in default right now than all of 2008. You're about to get a deluge of news. The only question is, will you be ready for it? I want to read this comment that I got from a subscriber, and it's heartfelt and it's really cool. And I think a lot of us can relate to this. I know I can because this is what I went through. And then I'm going to bring on somebody, a subscriber that is one of us. And I'm going to ask him some questions about what we experienced yesterday because we saw some crazy stuff at this auction. We're going to tell some stories about that. But I want to remind you, if you want to take part in this, because I've spent thousands and thousands of dollars on courses in the past in real estate, especially in this specific arena, liens and deeds. And I've seen that most people just want to get ripped off. It's insane. As a matter of fact, I ran into somebody the other day. No joke, he spent $50,000 on a course that I'm charging right now for $349 right now. So to give you an idea of like the difference, and I asked him how's he's doing. He goes, oh no, it's good. I bought 2 liens and he's a subscriber. And I'm like, dude, that's all, and he's going to crush it, right? But he said to me too, he goes, it's just like you said, because he's an intelligent person. He goes, I need not a whole hand holding, but I need the whole thing. I need to be you know, immersed in it. I need coaching and all that stuff. And he went and paid for a coach. And I'm like, the guy's going to absolutely crush it. I could tell. And I met multiple people just at the auction yesterday that were subscribers to the channel. And my thing is trying to encourage everyone to do this, right? These gentlemen and ladies that were doing it yesterday are quite successful people. They know how to make money. So they understand the difference of taking money and putting it out now towards education to go slay it, right? My buddy Dylan said, Travis, you're only ever going to be able to change 2 classes of people. You're never going to be able to change the middle class. You want to know why? Because they're comfortable. Everything is, it's cool. I'm just making it, or it's just, everything's good, or what was the word he used?
They're comfortable.
Comfortable. And then, but he says, the people that want to get out of their 9 to 5, that are just like, I feel like a slave, I'm sick and tired of my boss, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired, I want to change, you're going to be able to help them. And the rich, wealthy people, which I've seen this so many times on this channel, you're going to be able to help them because they understand, hey, I'm going to put out X amount of money to get X times 2 or X times 3 return. And it's a time hack and a money hack, right? Check out this comment down below here. I love you, brother ninja. You have changed my life for the better with your crypto course and teaching me to get out of debt. This is from the video yesterday. My issue is that I don't have the startup capital to buy another house. Even as a rental. I just tried and I was turned down because of this. It's okay, it's not your fault. It's exactly what I'm telling you. Banks are pulling back, raising their underwriting levels, okay? Hold on real quick here. I'm gonna get to this real quick. All right. He said, I just tried and I was turned down because of this, as well as not earning enough money from my day job per the rejection letter from Global Credit Union. I'm working on starting a side hustle. Just, you know, real quick note, go try and get a loan with another company. Just because a credit union turned you down, that's because of a specific set of standards they have currently. I'm working on starting a side hustle to sell certain items on the internet. I signed up for your LLC course and I can't wait. Thanks again, brother ninja. Look, I can relate to this because I was turned down for my first house to the point where my wife was in tears, bawling her eyes out because she was embarrassed by the loan officer that actually laughed at us when she saw our numbers. And that infuriated me. 45 days later, not only did I have the house, I had a better rate because I didn't quit. Every single one of us can relate to that. We're all in a different mode in life. And my question to you is, when are you ready to break out of that mode and go from 4th gear to 5th? Type 2 if that's you. If you want to get out of this rut you're in, because I can guarantee you most of us feel like you're in a rut. We're in a rut. And I have shared with you in this last year, I've been in a rut. I've been hurting lately mentally and trying to scrape myself out of it. And I have been, and quite frankly, it started when I decided to make this next course. And now I'm here in Houston at auctions watching people trying to save their homes in desperation, and then I watch other people taking advantage. And my heart goes out to both sets of people, quite frankly. Well, I want to start waking up the poor people, and I want to start elevating them, but we have to elevate them through knowledge. Look at this. Ian, thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate it. Matt, you want to come in? Here's your mic. I want to introduce someone to you. Oh, and ECO, thank you so much for the super chat, man. I really appreciate it. All right, so here we go. As a matter of fact, right now, the attorney that I was just talking about is texting me. We're about to meet with him. I really appreciate the super chats. All right, so Matt was a subscriber that I met in an interesting way, which is awesome. I always meet you guys in interesting ways.
It was.
Yeah, and Matt's a firefighter. Thank you, Erica, for the super chat. Really appreciate you guys. We have now, I'm putting Matt to work, and I'm not saying giving you a new lease on life, but you definitely are excited about what's coming because
absolutely
you were investing in tax liens before I knew you.
Yes.
Yeah, and you crushed it. You were making like what, 18% on some of these?
Anywhere from 15 to 20%.
Yeah, and you were making them like in what, like a 3 or 4 month time span?
Longest one was about 6 months.
Okay, and that has to do with your research, right?
Right.
ECO, stop giving me super chats. Thank you, guys. You don't have to do that. Yeah, I really appreciate you guys. But seriously, thank you. So you were crushing it, and And I came to you with this idea of this course I wanted to put out because this is the one type of investing that most investors don't even understand.
Right. They don't understand, and the barrier to entry is so low for people.
Can you explain like how much can you spend on a tax lien?
You can spend as little as $50 to get into one.
Yeah.
You can spend $500,000 if you'd like.
Yeah, and
either way.
In the industry, you've never taken courses on it, but we know people that have.
We do.
Yeah, and you're now coaching and helping people, walking people through this stuff, and they're going to meet Raul here in the next few days. And Raul has been unemployed blissfully since 2015.
Right. Yeah. Raul is happy as can be and just crushing it.
Yeah, and I mean, even last night we watched Raul make 32% on his money with a special technique in less than a half an hour.
Yeah, no, it was amazing. He just, yeah. There's so many tips and tricks to get through, but once you learn them, the ability is just this side of endless.
Yep. Now we're finding a couple of road barriers ourselves because in this industry, this is a pretty well kept secret. Like we went to the auction yesterday. People don't want to talk. I mean, people want to talk to me because they recognize me, right?
They do.
But if you try to walk up to anybody, did they want to share any knowledge with you?
There were a couple nice individuals as far as sharing information, what they were buying, what they was kind of a keep their cards to their chest kind of folks.
They don't want competition and all that stuff.
They don't.
Yeah, and what's really cool is we went to a live one, so we were thrown into the pit, right? The layer. Anyone can do this on Earth and do it from their home on a computer. And as we were walking away yesterday, what did you tell me?
I told, I said I really enjoyed that, but at the same time, I really enjoy just being able to sit in front of my computer at home and do the same thing.
Yeah. Now, the truth is, Matt's never taken a class. Raul's never taken a class. You don't need to take a class. Okay? This is the worst sales pitch in the world. I'm going to tell you right now. You don't need to take my course on this. However, if you want a time hack and you want to get serious and you're like, I want to dig myself out of this, it's going to save you time and a lot of effort because Matt's job is to find, I can't say every because there's no course with every thing out there. I mean, I've spent thousands of dollars on courses in the past, and they'll give you like one site that covers like 10 counties in one state.
Right.
And so our goal is to make the most, he's a coach. He helps people through this stuff. My goal is to make the most incredible course for the lowest price on earth so anyone on earth can buy tax liens or deeds in America. But it's going to take me a handful of months. It is a daunting task. I mean, I'm bidding on them currently.
Right.
You bid on them all the time, but I mean, I'm focused on this. And my question to you is, and this is the worst sales pitch in the world. Like, I don't care if you buy the course. I do care if you show up and try something. And so that when I run into you, all I hear is good things. Like I heard from this comment here, where he's like frustrated that he just couldn't get a house, but he already does have a house. He bought a course on crypto, and it says and I've been teaching him how to get out of debt. That's epic. That's all I want to do is meet more people that are absolutely crushing it. Like you saw people almost in tears trying to save their homes yesterday.
Yeah. That was a heartbreaking scene.
Yeah.
But whether I hope that gentleman had a long-term solid outcome. But I don't know. At least for yesterday, we were able to kind of steer him in the right direction to just be in contact with the person who was able to kind of rectify that situation for him.
Yeah, and I'm going to just go out on a limb here. It's going to sound like I'm a total jerk, but the truth is, the people that are losing their houses, they pull up. You could tell by the way they dress how there's stains on their clothes. They haven't. You could tell why people lose those 9 times out of 10. It's because they're unorganized. They don't think about the future. They don't think about certain things. You watch people that are ready to charge the day. They're dressed properly. They're motivated. Their shoulders are back. They're tilted forward, and they're moving with, on the fire grounds. I called it moving with not conviction, but with a purpose. Right? Yeah, it's a big deal. The fact is, there are certain people you're just never going to be able to help unless you just help them by giving them things. Right? There's a reason why so many people lost their homes in 2008. Because they didn't think about the future. They didn't have reserves.
Right.
And right now, that's that moment. We're in that moment. Trump won. That's exciting. Antifa, BLM, and other bad things are going to arise from silence over the next few months. I mean, seriously, type 10 if you agree with that. if you agree with that, we're going to start to see people rebel, people get angry, and people try to hide things in the media by flooding our nation with stress. So here's the question. If we, looks like everyone's agreeing, right? Type 11 if I'm wrong. Say, no, Ninja, you're wrong. Like, Trump's going to make everything good, everything's going to be great, and everyone's going to listen to him. So if I see any 11s, I won't go where I'm going to go. All right, sounds like everyone agrees. So the question is, are you committed to doing something about this? Like, you've got to there are people that like the idea of being successful, and then there are people that are committed to being successful. And you've got to be that person for not only yourself and your family, but your community. You know, you can't help anyone without money. I know it sounds crazy. People are like, oh no, I go down to the homeless shelter and I give my time. That's excellent. That's super cool. Some people are the hands. But you know, if you do that long enough, you're going to get burnt out. And when you're able to help people by paying them to be the hands or to be a supply to this world, that's excellent. You know, we've got philanthropists right now that actually, hey, look, I punched a well in Africa, and I'm also killing people with vaccines and stuff. Probably I'm going off on a tangent. Sorry.
No,
I didn't
right.
think about being on this video.
I'm just going to let you finish.
Yeah, no, it's funny. You know, Matt told me once, we were talking about making money in tax liens, and we were talking about the percentage, and one day he's like, yeah, but it's not like, I made a ton that week or that month, and I go, yeah, but it was a percentage. Like, yeah, but I bought a handful last month. They were like, what, $500?
They were, yeah.
Yeah, $500. You bought like a handful of them there. Yeah, I just did 4 of them, $500, made 18%. And I'm like, well, then do more.
No.
And he's like, well, yeah, when you look at it that way, okay, I'll do more. And I'm like,
Travis is very good at pointing out the annualized return versus the, yeah.
Yeah, because a percentage is a percentage, right? And what's exciting is anyone can do this. Anyone with zero experience can come out and go, hey, I'm going to buy a $50 tax lien. Right. And I did my research, and I have a very high probability of this one cashing out quick because of how I researched it and how I vetted it. Then there's people, we're looking at some, like I've found some for $100,000. I'm like, oh yeah, I want to go take that. I'm going to go force a tax sale on that property. There's a mega church in a state that's 350 that they haven't paid in taxes. And it's an entire block, an entire facility. I know it sounds crazy, like you do that to a church? I'm like, what kind of church doesn't pay their bills?
Well, at the end of the day, you are not doing anything detrimental, by buying a tax lien. You're actually helping that property owner, and you're also helping a municipality get money for their coffers to pay for basic services.
People like us, firefighters, to show up. Yeah. And that's the thing. So what happens is now the county rings them and say, hey, someone bought your lien, so now you got to pay a penalty, an interest rate back.
This prompts them to pay their taxes.
It really prompts them, because if they don't pay it in a certain amount of time and we file certain paperwork, which is not that expensive, then they go, okay, we're going to sell the property. And if these people just keep going, oh, I'm not going to pay, and we're finding liens that people have not paid their taxes for 7 or 8 years, and the liens weren't even purchased.
Right.
Holy cow. And we're talking, when you say...
There's a lot of properties there. It's... To say the numbers are vast is doing a disservice to saying that. Because the amount of properties that are available for tax liens are every state, or not every state, I apologize. Some states, we'll have to get into the weeds on that. Some states are only lien states. Some are deed states, but we'll get into that later. Yeah,
dude, $9 million in one state, just 2 counties. Right? Tell them about that. The $9 million in liens just in 2 counties. And we're not talking, Matt comes up to me and goes, we're not talking $9 million in value. We're talking $9 million in unpaid taxes.
Right.
Yeah, at a massive percentage.
There's an auction next week in Illinois, and there's $50 million in one county.
Yep, that's right. So who's got the money for this? I can tell you one group of people that are buying these up, and they can't even buy them all up. It's hedge funds.
Hedge funds.
And
huge buyers.
And you've got a sweet tactic to beat the hedge funds on that, which I know the hedge funds, there's some people that work for those that are watching these, so I'm coming for you. But they're probably
we're going to educate the masses. That's the goal.
Exactly. And so here's the deal. I'll throw this challenge out. If you want it, it's pre-filming sale. I can guarantee you this. This will be my most expensive course, because at the current price, even at a higher price, one deal, one good lien pays for the course. and then you're going to take that knowledge and level, and you're never going to lose it. You're just going to keep rotating it and making money, to the point where you'll see, Raul, where you will be blissfully unemployed because you're working for yourself 10 hours a week. Like, I'm not joking. And it's probably going to piss off a lot of people in the industry because, quite frankly, they've held this close to their hearts or their chests for a long time, not hearts, and they're charging between $4,000 and $50,000. And I don't like that. Ninja doesn't like it at all. So I think everyone should be allowed to make money, and I think we shouldn't take advantage of certain people that don't believe in themselves without the right education. And that's all it comes down to. Without education, you have a hard time walking into a room with confidence and having a conversation. I don't care what your education level's in, anything, when you don't know something, you have a hard time just getting by in society. I mean, anything, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so, I mean, a lot of people can't rely on their personality. Quite frankly, some of ours really sucks. I'm just talking about me. But you see what I'm saying? I'm losing you guys. All right, here's the deal. I'm gonna put the link down below if you want. Worst sales pitch ever. You don't need it to crush it. Matt didn't take my course. Other people I know did not take my course, and they just did it, and they're crushing it. There's a learning curve, but you can go do it. I suggest you do it. I'm going to start covering stories about tax liens, tax foreclosure sales, and tax, not riots, but what are they called? They're doing right now? Revolts. Holy cow, there are states where the counties are warning. And real quick, I want to tell you this. I did a story, it didn't get any play yesterday because, of course, there was cooler things happening. What was one of the biggest culprits that were forcing the tax sales? Schools.
Well, just municipal districts, whether it's water districts, sewer districts, school districts.
Yeah, they were filing. They were the plaintiffs.
They were the plaintiffs filing for the foreclosure to get their money.
So one government entity filing with another government entity to foreclose on your house. This is really happening. And we watched hundreds of them going up yesterday. This was crazy.
Yeah.
And it's going to be so big in March. And this is my next call. I'm telling you right now. I already called the foreclosure boom. You're going to get the news in January that it started in June because the data is going to come out. I have somebody, Raul, actually has the verified data of that. And you're going to see all the foreclosure stuff come out. In March, April, and May, you're going to see the beginning of a multi-year opportunity in tax sales and liens that will blow your mind. So, you never had a rental property before this, right?
I did, but it's been quite some time.
Okay. So, but I mean, would you say that anyone needs real estate experience to do this?
No, absolutely not.
Yeah. Like
no, and no, and that's the beauty. The barrier to entry, it's so low to get into this field, and the opportunities are so vast that just about anybody can do it.
Yeah, I'm about to.
But the only people that can't do it are the ones that aren't motivated.
I'm going to make the biggest douche move in YouTube, and I'm not joking. This is a serious move. From 0 to 60, I'm going to peg it. I took a certain amount of money, and I started an LLC, and I've already told you guys this once. I'm going to churn it, and within 1 year, I'm going to take, and the profit will pay cash for a Lamborghini Huracan. And then I'm going to do a video on how cheap I got the Huracan because cars are collapsing.
Right.
That's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to peg it 0 to douche in 60 seconds. Okay? Sorry for that term, but I just think of those people as like, I don't like those people. I'm like, I think I'm going to become one of them. So, but I want to do it to prove to people that you could do anything you want. I'm going to pay cash with it, but I'm going to use my seed money, and the seed money is not going to buy the car. The profit's going to buy the car, and you're going to see that in 2025. So,
yeah. And in the course, I'm going to be allocating a set number of funds, and we're just going to watch that. Nice. I'll do all my transactions through all the coaching calls people can see.
So you're actually going to show them as a coach exactly what you're buying, what you started with, and you're going to build it.
Yeah.
That's epic. Yeah, so absolutely. That's what you want in a coach. So if you guys want it, it's down below. The coaching sessions are separate because I want to bless Matt and Raul. They're both subscribers. They're both bringing me great information. They're coaching me as well through this because I can only know so much today. I need to lean on people like them to get even better. As a team, we can do something great. So hopefully you have a great day. The Economic Ninja and Matt are out. No snap.